What's up? Today I'm going to talk about brake controllers, specifically brake controllers for your off-road and overlanding trailer. This video is going to be a little bit more towards the DIY side of it, but it complements the channel because if you're like me, you like going out camping and overlanding because it complements our tactical knowledge base, and survivability and preparedness is a big part of that. A while back I did a video on my overlanding trailer. If you haven't seen that video, check it out. Today's video I'm going to be installing a brake controller for my vehicle. So I'm going to walk you through the process and show you how to install it and why you need one. So stay tuned.
Yeah, the other teams are moving in the background.
Alright, so I did my research on brake controllers and I had a few top contenders, but there was just one that checked all the boxes on what I was looking for. And that is, yes, the Red Arc Tow Pro Elite. This brake controller had all the things I was looking for, checked all the boxes and then some. First, what I liked about it is that the main unit is hidden underneath and all you have on dash is a tiny little knob, giving a real clean factory look, unlike most of the other aftermarket brake controllers that I saw. Second, I really like the functionality. It has two distinct modes. One is intended for routine or highway driving. The unit actually computates how fast you're braking through inertia and applies the right amount of braking power for your trailer. The second biggest thing I liked about the functionality, it has a user input mode or an off-road mode, right? I can actually switch it to that manual mode and work the power to the brakes as needed depending on the terrain. For example, if I'm going down a real sandy road, I can set it to 0 and now there will be no input to the trailer, not bogging me down, right? But if I'm going down some real steep technical terrain, I can set that knob to a little bit higher power and now the trailer is taking the brunt of the braking power there, right? So those are kind of two things that I really like. Lastly, the company is an Australian-based company. They've been around for over 40 years, and what I liked about them, they were really geared towards that outdoor market. I kind of like that. Unlike most of the other, brake controllers I saw, they were more for your traditional travel trailer type rigs there, right? So let's break down the components, how they're connected. I'll mock it up and then we'll transition over to the actual vehicle and I'll show you the install process. Okay, once you open up the box, here's what's inside. Of course, we have the main unit. This is what the computer, the brains behind the system. This gets mounted underneath the dash. In addition to that, it comes with the knob controller and the knob. Like I said, once this is installed, this is the only thing that's going to be showing. Everything else will be hidden. Then it comes with the wiring needed, right? This one here goes from the main unit to the knob controller. It's plug and play, super simple to do there. And this one here goes what powers the system, plugs into the main unit, and then this end here goes into my pre-existing wiring harness on the vehicle. The only other thing I bought was this OEM wiring harness specifically for Tacomas, which is the vehicle that I have. And what that does, it allows me to, once I connect these wires together, I'll basically plug this end into my pre-existing wiring harness and this end into the main controller, and that is pretty much it. As you can see, very simple install process. So let's transition over to the vehicle and I'll walk you guys through that. Okay, so step number one is I gotta find the factory wiring harness. It actually sits on, this is a 2012 Tacoma. So it sits behind this panel here. So I'll kind of walk you through the process. I have to remove some of the trim so I get access to it. Once I find it, then simply plug this in and I am good to go. Okay, so in order to remove this, I have to remove this piece first. This is very simple. Simply grab that, pull up. It's got some clips and the whole thing comes right out. All right, from there we transition to this. This also just pulls right out as such. And then I have to remove this here. This simply unscrews. That comes out like that. And then this whole piece basically just comes right out. Again, it's just clipped in. And everything is out. Now I have access to where the actual wiring harness is. Okay, here is the main factory plug. It was actually tucked away pretty good. I had a little bit of a hard time finding it, but once I did, there, pulled it out, no issues there. That simply plugs into the one I bought off the internet, so plug and play. And then this end here will be connected to the one that was supplied with the actual brake controller. Okay, so the next step is to install where I want the switch to actually be. Originally, I was going to do it on the other side of the steering wheel, but I found that it was kind of impractical, and the kit actually comes with this hardware. You can drill a hole anywhere in the dash or even on the center console here and install it. I actually found that this plug here on the end was empty, so I'm going to use that instead of having to drill a hole into my dash. The only issue with this is that it's actually a little bit thin, so it doesn't really fit. So I'm going to Dremel some of that plastic out in there to make it fit. But once I do that, this will slide right in and it'll be a clean look. So let's do that real quick. Okay, I already went ahead and routed the wiring. This is very important because this wire that comes with it, it's only about 2.5 feet long. So if I mount the main unit too far, it won't reach. So I got to make sure that this is done before I mount the unit. From there, is simply inserting this into the holder here. It comes with this little plastic nut. Screw that on there till it's tight. All right, then I simply plug that into this. Slide it into the pre-designated hole there that I kind of dremeled out, and we are good to go. Of course, I just got to slide the knob on there at the end, but now that's all set. Now I'm going to work over towards the computer side. All right, I went ahead and installed the wiring harness to the factory plug that comes with the tow package there, and then I rounded it up and around, and it comes right here out by the e-brake. I did cut this one to size because it had like 4 feet and I only needed to go basically from here to here. So I cut it down to about maybe 1.5 feet so I don't have a lot of extra cables. The other cable that comes out here is the one that goes to the switch that we installed earlier. So now it's just a matter of mounting the actual module to a hard point. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mount it basically right back here onto the firewall with some self-tapping screws. It has to be hard pointed. It can't be zip tied anything because it uses inertia to detect how fast you're braking, thus the amount of power it's going to supply to the brakes. And if you have it kind of loose, it won't do that properly. So with some self-tapping screws to the drywall, then plug it in and I should be pretty much good to go. All right, there it is. I kind of hard mounted it onto the firewall there. It's solid. That's not going anywhere. I actually had to put it at a 45 because there was some cavities in the back here where I couldn't get the screws to set. So, but that makes no difference. According to the installation instructions, as long as it's hard pointed, it's good to go. Next thing I need to do is just put all the trim back and then we are set for a test drive. So that's pretty much it. As you can see, pretty simple install. All right, there it is. I put all the trim back. There's the final location for the switch there. Super easy there. As you can see, the switch is very convenient and it looks very factory looking there. I just got to take it out for a test drive. That way it'll calibrate itself once I connect the trailer. Okay, so that's the install process there. As you can see, it's very easy to do. I took it for a test drive and it brakes super smooth, nice and easy. As always, if you found this information valuable, leave me a comment. Consider subscribing to catch my latest videos. With that, stay safe and train hard.